And so, my questions are oriented around, again, the mission critical priority. It's for any company, it's to grow and it's to save money. It's right to make money and save money. And so then we work down from there. What's working? What's not working? What happens if for your goals of 26, 27?
Welcome to the Fountain of Vitality podcast. I'm your host, LaMont Leavitt. In a world overflowing with noise, confusion, and distraction, we're here to cut through the clutter and explore bold, unique paths to a longer, healthier, and more vibrant life. Through candid conversations with business leaders, wellness experts, industry pioneers, and innovators, we'll uncover insights to help you discover your own personalized, unique approach to thriving. Tune in, trust the compass of wisdom within, and find your fountain of vitality. Hello, my name is LaMont Leavitt, and welcome to the Fountain of Vitality podcast. We're thrilled today to have with us Kimberly Cohen. She is the co-founder with Uniqua company, and she's also a podcast host on the Exec Edge. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Well, I'd love to hear some of your stories about maybe how you got started and how you escaped from being in that corporate world to going down a fractional CMO route and what AI has done for you in that process.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've lived 9 lives in my short nearly 55 years on earth. And so I sort of started out in the mailroom type of role, and then quickly became the webmaster for the largest family-owned grocery chain in the United States, here in Texas, HEB. It's got a lot of great reviews, notoriety. People really love it, and I love working for them. I've been poached many times since then. Like I said, lived many lives, was a project manager up in Seattle, and quit corporate life. I escaped once to become a stay-at-home mom, and then later on became an investor in a winery here in Texas, Central Texas. Um, and then later started a construction company of all things, after my dad had originated it, which we then sold to investors. I then flipped real estate, redesigned houses, and resold them, and then decided, you know what, I'm going to try corporate life again for about 5 or 6 years. I sold SaaS software, specifically cybersecurity, and then moved on to an advisory, selling advisory and media for another large company, two large enterprise high tech companies. So kind of run the gamut on things. So I decided, you know what, I'm escaping again. I'm out of here. And so now I run my own shop with my husband, David. And we started Uniqua AI about 8 months ago or so, where we had a vision of using technology that originates in AI in order to provide value to smaller companies that maybe don't have someone that's embedded in their company to actually create, strategy for them. And so we've been working on those types of projects ever since we originated Unique AI. We built websites, we built apps. I'm the fractional CMO for a GRC company, which is governance, compliance, and risk. So going back to my cybersecurity oriented roots, talking to CISOs, CTOs, and CIOs, and of course the C-suite on the value of staying compliant with all sorts of things. I know you're in the healthcare space. That's obviously something very important, near and dear to your heart and to your clients, I'm sure. And in that, we're also building another niche, specifically remodeling. So, kind of going back to my construction roots. And since I've been speaking that language for a long time, we're building the opportunity for remodeling companies to be able to grow their business, get down to their mission critical priority, of course, of growing revenue. And so I kind of wear many hats all day long: podcast host, fractional CMO for the GRC company, trying to figure out what remodeling companies need and want, and building to that. building apps for all sorts of other things to make my life easier, and then advising my college age daughter on her job search out in the wild as she graduates this May, hopefully to get off my payroll.
That's funny. I have a son graduating also April, May from
Yes.
college. So yeah, it's a challenging world for them to hop
It
into.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But what I've been able to do is actually take a lot of the learnings that I've come across with Uniqua and teach her how to utilize AI to really maximize, the impact that she's having on her job search, the conversations that she's having in order for her to prepare for those conversations, and making sure she's providing it as much value as possible, when she's going into those interviews versus just, asking a bunch of questions or just answering out of rote memory what she thinks that they want to hear. So it's really been able to grow her ability to critically think and to, level up her executive skills and functions to have a much better conversation with her interview whoever's on the other side of the table from her.
That's great. Now, I assume as with your Uniqua AI company that you've launched, as you lead with being a CMO, do you lead with the AI strategy to help people, or what's your lead in?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I don't really lead in with solutions. I lead in with value. And so, my questions are oriented around, again, the mission critical priority. It's for any company, it's to grow and it's to save money. It's right to make money and save money. And so then we work down from there. What's working? What's not working? What happens if for your goals of 26, 27? What happens if you get to those goals? How are you getting to those goals? What's keeping you back from that? What's blocking you? And what happens if you don't meet those goals? And so working backwards from that, that's how I'm able to sort of assess where the gaps are and as sort of align with a maturity model that works for that particular niche that they're in, that particular vertical. So in the case of, the GRC company that I'm working with, they're a startup. They're competing against some pretty good heavy hitters that got good pricing. And they are providing a ton of value, especially because they're talking about new compliance rules that are in India and other places. So they're providing more value than their larger heavy hitter competitors at a better price. And so since for them, I don't want to lead with their pricing, they need to lead with value. I'm creating a go to market strategy and plan where we are actually not just talking to CTO, CISO, CIO. We're talking to the CFO, the CEO, the others, the product manager, to make sure that they're all aligned and seeing the value of what it is they're selling, and then creating the whole go to market strategy about that in terms of discovery, and then working down from there. So that's my goals, is that, and then there are AI solutions along the way that can help get to that goal faster. So how do we do that? We have, how are they researching their customers? How are they researching their prospects? How are they making sure that they're providing the best value to their customers and getting all of that data quickly, efficiently, and back out to their prospects quickly and efficiently? Uh, and so far so good, it's working. And it's a multi-pronged approach as well. But in terms of AI, we're using it for, like I said, the research to make sure that we're having intelligent conversations with people. We are making sure that their blog posts are aligned and have got other, validation from other content sources, and then quickly utilizing AI to throw up landing pages with gated content so that they can create, a perception of, creating value for their customers. And then also using AI to do research in terms of what is their marketing mix, what is their pricing looking like, how are we assessing the competition, and making sure that they're placed correctly in the marketplace. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. Something else that I've done that's been very helpful is creating an AI advisory board. So I'm able to go in and utilize, the best practices of a lot of the, the big four advisory companies, the analysts that go in and tell companies how to do things, and creating a C-level advisory for, board virtual for
Great idea. Good
companies.
idea.
Yeah, and then that way, that CEO founder can ask that virtual advisory board what they think about the matter, ask it to cite its sources so it's not hallucinating. And then they're able to move forward on those actionable decisions that come out of those virtual advisories. Now we know, of course, again, that AI hallucinates. It can tell you you're the smartest person in the room, make you feel great. That's what the AI girlfriends are for, but this is real business. So, obviously you have to ask it to cite its sources, to have things rooted in fact. And then you've got to trust but verify, because, the AI can get you, as they say, 80% of the way there, but you've got to do the legwork on the last 20 to make sure that you're making the best decisions for your business.
Oh, that's great. What's important, I think you've really brought out is you first go to the customer looking for how to what value proposition are you bringing to them, and you don't lead with here's my solution, looking for a problem. You just have a nice tool chest of things you're going to use, depending on what value you plan on bringing to each customer. Each customer is unique, and they got their own way they need to deal with things. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I've talked to other fractionals and in other areas. So, especially when you're talking about marketing, like you said, it's different for every company. It can be similar, but not same. But when I was talking to a fractional CFO that owns an accounting and CPA business just last week, she was talking that they have a set MSA, managed service agreement for all of their customers, and that is all that they do. When it comes to CMO work, that's definitely, we can't be that rigid. It would be nice if we just had a set menu. But what I do when I have those conversations, that I also use AI that knows my business and the offerings that we can deliver on in a quality and timely manner. And then I can put that transcript into my, growth creator, if you will, and it can advise me on what the best solutions are, the pricing, the timing, and the implementation SOPs that go along with actually delivering on those actionable, the things that we promised that we were going to do for that particular customer. So then they've got a set list of deliverables. We're not working by the hour, we're working by, the milestone, and then we're able to actually do what we promised we would do in the first place.
I'm just curious what are as a fractional CMO, how it used to be even 5, 10 years ago compared to now. It sounds like you do leverage AI more. What would you say are your, top 3 to 5 tools that you like to use under what scenarios to move things along to help your customers?
Sure. So, in terms of the actual workflow, so the CRM, the landing pages, the AI agents. So you've probably seen ads for AI agents where you call a business and then it has a conversation with you, and then it's got a companion chat bot in the website. Let's see. So basically, funnel, sort of a sales funnel. So if you're running Meta ads or Instagram ads or whatever, um, that whole workflow is done in Go High Level. So that entire platform has most of what you need. And if it doesn't have it, it connects to other tools that you can utilize in order to build what you need. And so you can build, like I said, the websites, the templates, the funnels, the AI agents. It connects to your calendar. It helps you book meetings and all sorts of stuff. And I mean, it's a lot to set it up, obviously, but you can do things such as create what's called a video sales letter, and you can tell someone what your business is once they've got an interest in it, and have them pre-qualified and almost pre-sold before a salesperson even talks to them. So it's really pretty remarkable.
Hey, can you repeat that tool again for our listeners that might wanna try something like that?
Yeah, and actually I'll leave you a link in afterwards. So it's called Go High Level, but I've got
Yeah.
snapshots that I can use to help them along in their journey. And so I can send you, my actual link so that they can utilize some of the snapshots that I've already gotten. So some of the work
Great.
I've already done to leverage that so they don't have to start from zero because it's quite overwhelming. But it has connectors to all sorts of things, like I said, to your Google Calendar sheets, Microsoft, Canva, 11 Labs, just all sorts of really cool stuff.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that one. So, any other tips or tools and gotchas along the way?
Yeah, for sure. I've also built my own apps. So I actually, because I do podcasting, I built my own app in Lovable to do research on my prospects, on the people that are going to do podcasts with me or to do a pre-podcast call. So I built that app in Lovable. That's a great website, app building, presentation type tool. And basically, what it does is you go onto the site, you connect it with your Google Calendar, your Google Drive, Google Documents, and then you can tell it to go create a pre-podcast research, and you give it the name. It goes onto your calendar, searches for that calendar event, and then it goes and finds that person based on the URL of their email address, and finds them on LinkedIn and on the web, and does a complete rundown of who they are, what their LinkedIn content contains, and what is pertinent to your particular podcast. And then it creates a document and places it in your Google Drive. I know. And then it creates another companion event at the same time as your podcast so that you got all of that research at the tip of it's right there. It's at the click of a button. You can open that up and then you can read, the top items about that person. You can find the link to your to the document, the long form document with all the research on it. You got that right in front of you in anticipation of your podcast call.
Yeah, good reminder on Lovable. I've heard good things about that one as well.
I really like it, and I've done it for a lot of things. So I've also built a website, for Uniqua AI, and then some landing pages for some of our niches where I've created a value calculator. So basically you said, okay, if you miss 2 calls a week and you're a construction company and your average ticket price is $8,500, which we know is a lot more than that these days, and you miss 2 calls per work week, which is 6 days a week, you could be missing out on $300,000 in revenue per year. Now do you want me to talk to you? Now do you want me to set you up an AI agent? It's fully worth it. And so you're immediately showing value to your prospects.
Well, great. So you talked about Lovable and high level. So from an agent standpoint, what are some of the agent type AIs that you've liked working with?
Yeah, in terms of like ChatGPT or
Yeah, in
yeah,
general.
I use all of them actually. I use ChatGPT. ChatGPT is my homeboy. That's the OG. That is the one we've been using the longest. Obviously I have a paid version, and then my daughter is also on my paid version, so I use it twofold. I can see what she's actually using it for her job search and then help her along with it, which is great. But I've also used it for a lot of different things. It knows about my business. I use it to cross check Gemini and Claude as well. So I like to trust but verify on all my information. But I've used it, agentic wise. Of course, they've got a lot of different connectors. They've got a lot of different things that are already pre-built. So I think that one is just kind of the tried and true workhorse. It's not great at writing. It's obviously you have to continue to prompt it on writing style so it doesn't sound like it's written by AI. And I think it's most the biggest offender of the AI slot production. So it's really good to run it through a different writer or a human in order to get quality content, in my opinion. So then we have perplexities on the other side of it. That's great for prosaic writing. So if you're doing the blog post and integrating thought leadership into something, I think perplexity is probably your best bet on that. Gemini, I really like Gemini because I really like the gems and the fact that it's a self-contained conversation within your Gemini, uh, within the platform itself. And so it's drawing on the stuff that you specify for the gem, but also you can allow it to look at what's in your drive. And so if you're a marketer like I am, it's drawing on all the other research and the background I have within my Google Drive and my Gmail, because I allow it to, and of course my calendar, so it can tell me a lot more insight about everything. I feel like more than anything else, and I really enjoy that. I love the Gemini gems. And then for Claude, that one I really like it because it's got an app, and then it's got, of course, the desktop version, and you can build apps where you can speak to your app, and then you can tell it to do things while you're out and about, and then it appears on your desktop once you're there. The one gotcha about them is that you have to buy tokens. And so you're pretty much going to blow that out of the water. The $20 version, you're going to blow it out in a day once you start messing with it. So you're going to have to get that $100 version for that one to really make sense, to really use it to its
With Claude. Yeah.
yeah. So, that being said, the other thing about any of those is that it can direct you on how to do things, which I love. So, any one of them, you can tell them, like with Go High Level, I'll say, I need to do X, Y, and Z. How do I do it? Here's the SOP that I've been given, but I'm not seeing this exactly as it is. This is what I see. Here's a snapshot. Here's a screenshot. And then it gives me the complete directions on how to do whatever it is that I'm doing whilst I'm doing it without having to go to support and all this other stuff. It's like my built-in tech support. And if you're like me with the ADHD going on, it's a great way to stay focused and make sure that I actually get the task done versus, just passing it off to someone else.
Yeah, I think the great thing about AI is if you are a natural creator,
Yeah,
it can really help you have a co-creator to
for
get
sure.
all these thoughts and things out of your head and and the execution. There's so much, even 10 years ago, there's so much more time lost in trying to convey your mind and to a group of software developers, where now you can quickly get to the meat and potatoes of what you want to have happen. So that makes it fun for a creator, and I think the creators are going to have the most fun with leveraging AI.
Yeah,
If you're
for
not-
sure. I think you're right. The creators are definitely having the most fun. My husband is full of ideas as well. And so we both are. And then we consume a lot of media just by virtue of what we do, what we're interested in. And so I think what that can sort of manifest into is that paralysis by overanalysis. What do we just go ahead and put a line in the sand and execute on now? Because we can go in 8 different directions, but we gotta execute on something. Let's pick the tool we're gonna do it with. It's gonna be the most efficient and give the best output, because we've had the luxury, honestly, of taking the time to figure out what works best for which, type of task. And now we're able to, we're not perfect. We're not gonna make a decision that's perfect every time, but we can make a pretty good educated decision on what's gonna work the best in order to actually execute on something. And so that's what we're in the midst of right now. I'm creating a video sales letter for my remodeling niche. And the fact that I was able to do work that usually takes within the SOP an estimated month to do is taking me a week and a half is absolutely insane again, for somebody who has the attention span of a gnat. It is But that would definitely be, I think our biggest limitation is the fact that we have so many ideas and not enough time to execute and actually monetize them. But that's for another day, when you're doing the podcast as you are, running the business as we are, and trying to be innovative. It's so many different things. And then trying to be innovative for other companies, as a fractional CMO. I'm trying to do things for them on a revenue share so that I get paid for their success. So, takes a lot of mind share in my day.
Yeah, absolutely. What advice would you give to someone that is a perfectionist, where they overanalyze and they want it to be a certain way, and they're kind of afraid to jump into letting AI just run with things? How far do you tell a perfectionist that, hey, it's the 80-20 rule.
you need to get comfortable with it being about 80% of what like you want it, and then refine it from there. What's some advice you'd give on that?
Yeah, I've got a pretty good hackneyed response. I've got 2 things. Don't let great get in the way of good and executed. Like, just do something. Don't ideate on all the things. Just pick a lane and execute on it. And then the other bit of advice is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Pick that lane, create a plan, and let AI do it for you. That executable task list of things. This is a project manager, recovered perfectionist, and me.
There you go.
That plan and execute on it, and pick out the tools that can allow you and help you to execute on it, and don't feel like you have to do everything yourself, because 1, the AI can do a lot of it for you. 2, you can hire people on Fiverr and Upwork to help with the grunt tasks that maybe you just don't want to do. Like, I'm not good at producing podcasts. I don't want to do that. My computer's too slow, and my attention span is too short for me to stare at podcast stuff, put the bumpers on, and da da da. So I found someone to do that. Buying your time back and getting on with the big, hairy, audacious things that you really want to execute and monetize, that's going to make your life and the life of your clients better. Go do that.
Good advice. Good advice. Um, well, thank you so much. Now, if someone wants to get a hold of you, wants help, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Absolutely. So we're at uniquaai.com. So it's a funny name. It's www.uniqua, so uniqueai.com. And I'm Kimmy at uniquaai.com.
All right. And then I see you on LinkedIn as well.
I'm on the LinkedIn, Kimberly Cohen, and happy to discuss questions, ideate, all that kind of stuff. Highly recommend reaching out to me in terms of the virtual advisory board, getting that set up at least, just so you've got some good ideas percolating. It's such a great way to get some early wins.
So thank you again so much for your time today, Kimberly, and good luck to you on your journey.
Thank you.
Take care.
Likewise.
Thank you for tuning in to the Fountain of Vitality podcast. Head to fountainvitality.com for more episodes, insights, and resources. Remember, your health is yours to own. Take charge, focus on what you can control, and keep exploring what works for you. Always be your best self, lift others, and trust the compass of wisdom. Until next time, stay vibrant and take care.